Nicola.
Hi. Hey, we're back after a big weekend, aren't we?
Huge weekend, my God. It was, I think, well, I did probably six, you did, I think, 6 or 7 days straight. I did 5 days straight. Lots of time in the studio, but we emceed a few events on the weekend, and one in particular was very funny.
It was so fun. And, you know, for a charity for everyone's hearts too is Little Legs charity, and because right now May is Cancer Month, and it was on Sunday, which is the 17th of May, and in honour of gorgeous little Allegra, who sadly lost her life, but was bringing awareness to it. But you know, we were MCs, and it was an awareness, and it was a fundraising occasion.
Childhood brain cancer, so it's a great cause.
So we played some games, and the first one was, so we're MCs, we hadn't done like the heads and tails games. It was funny, and how to stuff it up.
And no one had any drinks, so no one had chilled yet. So it was right up front. As soon as they sat down, they wanted us to get everyone to stand up, which was easy. It was a bit of fun.
Oh,
but
hilarious.
I played heads and tails with my grandkids, but I do it a different way. You stand if it's right and you sit if it's wrong. Oh, no. Because it had to be the whatever thingy. And I'm like going, oh, Nick, and then the questions, it was true or false, and then, it was all wrong. And all through emceeing the event, we kept going, anyone for heads and tails? Everyone was killing themselves.
It was so funny because it was meant to be so like funny. Only like 3 winners at the end, but half the room was still standing there, so it was quite funny.
So we had 6, and I'm like going, and I get the giggles, don't I? When situations, I just laugh. Yeah. And I think it's my default model. I just go, okay, I know how to diffuse this. Yes. Just be you. And you're just fabulous. She just rolls with it.
It was a laugh and a half, but it was a really good thing. And we actually went to another one, the Warriors Women, and that was a wonderful charity as well. Really supporting young women to have sort of someone who to stand by their side, not cure all the problems for them, but to stand by their side. But they had Elena Dokic, who's coming on the podcast.
She blew me. I was just talking to Jessica Rowe out in the studio. She was saying how blown away Jessica is by her confidence and how far she's come. And you know what she was just talking to me about, Jessica? She just said, do you know what? We used to watch her play tennis, and I remember I'm in this bracket, and we used to go, in the back of our minds, it was just a bit, oh, really, get over it. Your father's your coach, like he's firm. That's okay, like you've been a little bit, you're going over the top. Where the whole time, I've got to watch the emotion here. The whole time, he's like beating her, going, you're no good, you're hopeless, whatever. And there was that woman that spoke at that event, like with confidence. She's self-assured, and you know what? As you heard, Nicola, she is led by kindness. Is the way she leads her life now. To be kind to others. She's flipped it full circle. I came away. I walked away. I was exhausted because I went through full gamut of emotions with her. It was so powerful, and look where she's come, more power.
And you know what, and circling that into who we're going to be having next too, I think it's also having the voice to speak up and speak her truth. So it took her many years because with shame and things happening in the home and behind closed doors, and then with Elena Dokic, she's got a great documentary out. So it's got a very well.
I can't wait to see it. Netflix.
Yes, you see that. So some was not. It was in the eyes of the world.
I love the way you flow in with people.
Yeah.
And our next guest.
But it was.
I love the way she does that.
But she found her voice, and by speaking up about it, then helped herself, and then helped others people. So I guess on that note,
I'm hopeless at sort of going in the flow. Segue. Thank you.
So hard. And you know what? Gosh. So it ended up being, it's a positive energy story.
So look, guys, our guest today is Jodie Hines, who we instantly connected with after discovering the incredible wellness space she created called Positive Energy.
Our 2 favourite words.
Yeah, well, that's what's so ironic. Nicola and I went, hello, that's us. On our first visit, we thought it's more actually like a sanctuary. I said to Nicola, we have to have our disco night here. It reminded me of a space my niece, Bella, took me to in LA. It's mind-blowing. So, as a consequence, our disco is happening on the 29th of May. And guess who is the DJ?
Can you
None other than Jodie Hines herself.
Wow.
So,
what doesn't she do?
It's so true, though. I agree. And a beautiful mummy mood. So, who is Jodie Hines? She is a wellness entrepreneur, DJ, mother, and community builder who has turned many of her life's challenges into thriving, not just surviving. She's inspiring women through movement, music, connection, and resilience. From creating spaces that empower others to navigating personal loss with strength and grace, she brings warmth, energy, and authenticity into everything she does. Thank you today for sharing your personal story, Jodie. And both Nicola and I are so proud of who you have become as a woman. We give you, all you gorgeous friends of ours listening, Jodie Hines. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome
You're
to
going
our
to make me
Big
cry.
Fits.
I was like, what an introduction.
Well, you better live up to it.
I know. I'll try.
Otherwise you're in trouble.
I know.
And we also got to say too that before that we met through a fabulous mutual friend, Wendy, who's
gosh.
also the owner of Okanui.
I
So we want to give a
know.
big shout out to Okanui.
I
Love
know.
this.
Hi,
Great.
Wendy.
Yes.
I love you lots.
I know.
You're
Yeah,
like
like-
sisters, aren't you? Almost?
Yeah, we are 25 years. So, like Nicola and yourself, 25 years. We're not quite 40, but
No.
25 years of magic. So, she is my rock. We don't get to catch up all the time, but I know if I ever need anyone, she's got my back. You know, she would drop anything. And that woman is busy. She runs a business, an empire, Okanui. She's got 3 amazing kids who are like all, you know, high athletes. They're, you know, in the top grades of their sports. And she runs her household. She's a bloody great mum and an amazing friend. So
Well, no wonder you're friends.
Yeah.
So we
Friendship's
want to
so
know
huge.
about you,
The family.
beautiful Jodie, and
How many kids?
yeah, tell us a bit about your family life.
Oh my
You're
God,
one
way
of how
too many.
How many?
I was waiting
Yeah.
for a response.
Wait,
That's
Di would
funny.
know. 8 kids.
Both Jodie and I,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
have exactly the same amount of siblings. 5 girls and 3 boys. I've only ever met
Yeah.
one other person in my life
Yeah.
that has 5 girls and 3 boys. So
Yes.
Have you?
Never. Di's been the first.
Oh.
I've met her. Yeah. So when you said 8 kids, how many girls, how many boys? Yeah. So my mum was trying to chase the dream. So she had 2 girls, 12 months apart. I thought, who does that? That's just
Yeah.
absolutely batshit crazy. But she did it. And then she tried for the boy. She got another girl.
Oh.
And then she was like, okay, I'm going to try for that boy, you know, because she wanted the boy for my father. And got the boy. And then
So we're 3 girls.
3
is it?
girls.
And then the boy. Wow.
Then the boy,
Right.
and then she was like, the boy needs a playmate. And so she tried again. She got another girl. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to try one more time for the boy. She got the boy, and myself and my younger brother were the accidents. She said, if you got 6 kids, 8 kids, like, what's the difference?
It's
so,
true.
yeah.
Throw them
you
all
know.
into the mix.
Exactly. So,
You
yeah.
know what happened?
Doesn't
with Mum?
happen that often these days.
Mum
though.
had 4 girls.
Yeah.
You know the story.
Yeah.
And then Dad, she wanted to have a son. And then the obstetrician said, girlie, that's it. You won't, because she had a tough pregnancy with the 4th one. Oh, no, you won't be able to have any more children, girlie. That's how he referred to her.
Oh, yeah.
And so off you go, and that's it. So Mum refused to believe this man. So she has a 14-pound baby boy, the next one. So she walked into the guy's office, Macquarie Street.
I'm
for all
crossing
you
my legs
international-
just thinking about that.
Let me say that's not a bit of Di's sizzle, because we know that
this
sizzle,
is a
this
true
is actually,
one. And she
True.
walked in holding the baby and said to her, so she said, you don't have an appointment. She said, I don't need one. I'll see him when he opens the door. And he opened the door. She went, remember me?
Yeah.
Remember me?
Yeah.
I could only have 4 kids.
Oh,
Guess what? Boy, 14 pounds, really healthy. Bye. And walked out. I went,
Whoa.
and all of us girls were
Now we know
like,
where she gets the
yay.
sass from.
Yeah. I just went,
Takes after
wow.
her mama.
So I get your
Yeah.
mum going, keep trying for a boy.
Yeah.
So.
Even had 3 miscarriages in between the 8, you know, and we're all really close. We're 11, 12 years apart, you know, from start to finish. So I think, Mum, you're either crazy, and she always says, I'm not maternal. And I think, who has 8 children and they're
That's
not
actually
maternal?
funny.
I
That's
know,
incredible.
But good Catholic family.
You see,
Yes.
ditto.
Oh,
Yeah.
So good
wow.
Catholic
Yeah.
family.
So what was it like growing up in a big family like that?
It was amazing. Childhood was such a blessing. Lots of fun. We were that house that was a party house, so it was chaos. We thrive on chaos.
Yes.
Like the bigger the party, the better. So every weekend we're a big rugby league family, North Sydney Bears. you know, as you can imagine, 8 kids, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends. We would have anywhere up to 30 people just for a barbecue to watch the football. So I was born around chaos, and I still love chaos. So whenever my girls have their, you know, people over, I'm like, yeah, bring all your friends, and we'll end up with 50 friends, you know, at New Year's.
That's where you're twins. You
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah, so everybody.
And that's what I love
everybody.
about Di as
They
well.
said, we're coming 60. I'll go, great, no problems.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, what? I go,
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, Christmases are 60 people,
Yes.
and I host it.
Yes.
I do all the cooking.
Yeah. Oh.
Everyone's like, what can I bring? And I'm like, just yourself. You know, I'm a bit of a control freak in the kitchen. I'm like, just bring a dodgy salad and I'll... the food is beautiful. But I do like, I love hosting. It's just, you know, my mum was a great host. I've taken after my mum. So, but yeah, growing up in you know, a family of 8, it was so much fun. There was so much love. You know, we were that good Catholic family. Dad would make us go to, I shouldn't say make. We would go to church happily on
Mum
Sunday.
used to have a headache often on a Sunday. We'd all go, funny how she gets it just before 6 o'clock mass. Oh, no, I've got a headache.
Yes.
And we go,
Yeah.
really? Anyway.
Yeah.
So unbelievable upbringing until something happened when you were 11 years old and your world spiraled. Tell us about that.
Completely. So on the 29th, I was, you know, it was just after Christmas, right before New Year's Eve. I woke up at midnight and there were people talking downstairs, and I just woke up, you know, just unexpectedly. Like, I'm an 11-year-old child. A tornado would need to wake up my 11-year-old, or she's 12. So, you know, like, you don't wake up that easily. I heard these voices and I've run to the top of the stairs. I was thinking, who's talking? Like, is Santa here? You know, because I'd always try and catch Santa out as well, you know. So, always. I always try and catch that, you know, like when he was delivering presents. But and the priest was on the phone and saying, John Harvey Porteous is deceased. We've found him at the bottom of a cliff, and he had passed away. And I was like, shit, is this a nightmare? No, this is a nightmare. I'm not awake. This is my dad. So, this is my dad. So I thought it was a dream. I ran back into my room. I jumped underneath the covers. I was like, okay, no, this is definitely a dream. This is definitely a dream. I stayed there for a minute. And then I continued to hear the talking, and I was like, okay. So I tiptoed out to the top of the stairs again. And the phone was just at the bottom of the stairs, and surely enough, like, someone spotted me and they went, come down. And I just remember looking at my mum, and she just said, you know, like, your dad's dead. He's gone. And I was like, what? He's gone? Like, no, he was getting fish and chips. And so that night before he left, he was getting the family dinner. So Friday night in our household was always fish and chip night. And the last thing I got to say to him was, Dad, remember, because I hate fish and chips, I was like, make sure you get me a burger. Remember, like, Dad, get me the burger.
How you remember that.
Yeah, just so vividly. That was the last thing I got to say to him. And so, that night I stayed awake the whole night, and so I was one of the first to find out. And I remember sitting there going, no, this can't be true. This can't be true. Wake up. Come on. This is just, like, I really thought it was a dream. But as all the kids started coming down the stairs, because all the bedrooms were upstairs, one by one, you know, the news had to be broken. And it was, our whole world changed
Oh, yeah. God. Then you know what? Thank you for sharing
that.
Take
a deep breath, you beautiful girl.
I
can feel you.
And only share whatever you choose to
of course,
sort of say that as well with this too. And so with that, then your mum must have had some inner strength, or what happened in family life from there? Did
family life
spiral out, or was it what was the...
It was pretty crazy. You realise when you need people the most, and you see it with death. You think you're going to have this community of people supporting you, yet everyone deserted my mum. So, you know, we were a part of this community in this particular area. We had, you know, great neighbours, great friends, and no one stuck by her.
Why? I have to say why.
I think it was back then mental health was very taboo.
Interesting. I thought.
Yeah.
that.
So it was like,
What
you
a
know,
crazy world it was.
yeah, you know,
Nicola,
And
think
you know,
about
but we're
that.
talking also about, say, silence, not talking about things. And I
Yeah.
guess then it goes under whether it's shame, whether it's under, you know, things. So many, especially with Catholics or so many different religions,
Yes.
we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
These are things not to be
Oh,
discussed.
you're so right.
So that's sort of something like you don't talk about that. That's you know, like that you under the thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's not
In
to
the
be
cupboard.
discussed.
no, that one you
You're so
definitely
right,
And
Nicola.
push
what a
under the
hard
carpet.
thing,
Do you remember your
whereas,
parents saying
you
that?
know, like the
Just
Yeah.
avoid it. Just
Yeah,
put it, as
yeah.
Nicola said, under the rug.
Exactly.
And
And
what a crazy world that was.
it really was. So, you know, he did suffer with mental health, and it did deteriorate. You know, he had an operation, there was pain medication, add alcohol, add, you know, a few unfortunate moments, add his mental health. Back then it was called manic depression. Now I think they call it bipolar.
Right.
So, you know, he had this underlying mental health issue, no support, lack of awareness. You're a man, so your masculinity of having a family with 8 kids, showing face, you're a community man, you're a good Catholic, so you show up at church, you're the local accountant, like all these things, you know, very proud. And so, you know, I think back then people just kind of thought mental health is, like it's a disease, like, you know, you've got, you know, some really toxic disease that you can't go near them, like, oh, like.
I doubt whether he would have got the support back then, whereas
Yeah,
now
definitely.
support's at least it's available and people talk about it and there's places to go.
It's amazing.
Thank the
you
Lord.
know, whereas back then.
Yes.
But for you,
Yes.
Jodie, so then, you
yeah.
know, life goes on, I guess. And
Life did go on. Life was
Did
very.
Mum go on?
Mum
God bless
was a
her.
challenge.
8
You know,
kids.
Mum relied on
Bingo.
Dad for everything. You know, back then, obviously the male did everything, signed the checks, looked out, you know, brought in all the money. Mum was that beautiful community woman, the girl guide leader, always the mum on, you know, the canteen at school, you know, footy clubs, netball, you name it, dance mum. She's like 8 kids. I've got 2 kids and I run around like a crazy woman. She's got 8 and she was in absolutely everything. So to lose the person that was like the backbone of the family, to then take on the role of the financial supporter, but also try to be the mother, the maternal mother of, you know, giving your children the love that they need. It was a real challenge for her. So she was really lost. She spent 2 years crying. I watched my mum just, you know, become a shell of a person, and she lost the love of her life. That was 25 years of marriage, 8 children, and all in one night of, you know, just him.
Did she remarry?
She did.
And how did that go?
how long
Can I
was
swear?
that? Yeah, please. Yeah.
I'm like,
You can swear. We love swearing.
Yes, yeah.
That's why I love podcasting.
yeah, I know. If you've got to
Authentic.
beep it out, it was fucking hectic.
In
It
what
was the
way?
worst. So she met a man. So she worked for Meals on Wheels. So she, again,
God,
community
what a
woman.
woman.
So she was the chef at Meals on Wheels.
Oh,
So he
Saint.
was
Yes, yeah.
Saint D.
Yes.
I'll tell her you said that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And met a man who was a volunteer who would deliver meals, and he was, you know, a little bit older than her, and obviously showed interest. And she's a broken woman, and she wanted to find someone to, I guess, just help support her, companionship. So he came into her life. All of us were obviously very resistant to allowing him in, because at that age you
I
don't understand
I get it.
mum, and you know, you have one love. Like, how dare she find another love? I couldn't comprehend that. But she did remarry, and she told me on my 13th birthday that she was engaged to this terrible demon male. And I was like, oh,
So it
I
wasn't
just...
that long, may I just interject there? That's
It
so
was not.
interesting. So she hadn't
not.
maybe gone through that whole grieving
No,
period
definitely
herself.
not. Definitely not. Definitely. But, you know, when you're financially trying to look after 8 kids, we're all teenagers. I've got 2 teenagers, and I deal with the hormones of 2 teenagers, and I just think, and I've got a great husband who is the most amazing father, but she had no one. So I think, like, when I looked, you know, I couldn't understand it then, but later in life I was like, I get it, Mum. I get it, and I forgive you.
And what was happening in the marriage that
So
you
it
found
was-
out about?
Yeah,
it
it
not
was
being your average.
so he made us sell the family home. He moved, so we lived in a beautiful home. He made us sell that because he didn't want to live in a dead man's home. We moved up to Thornley, and it just went down. So life was already pretty shit because obviously lost my father. I was the weird child that had the dead father, and I was depressed, and, I had no friends. I went to a school with, all my other girlfriends went to one school, I went to another, so I had no true friends at this new school. So I felt very isolated, very alone, very depressed. And to move from our family home up to Thornley and live with this man who I had absolutely no respect for because
Why is that? How did he treat Mum?
Oh, he would treat it like, initially it was like whining, dining, dancing, take her out and, sort of take her mind off what was going on. But as soon as he sold our family home, he made her go halves in this home up in Thornley. That was fine. But then she paid for everything. Like he was a tight ass, and it just went on. So the fighting started. And by this time, I think Mum was going through menopause as well. So it was a very toxic marriage. So I watched for the next 4 years a really horrible domestic violent relationship of nonstop arguing. It became quite physical. We were known around the neighbourhood. We had the police called multiple times to come in and, do welfare checks. And so I think he decided that he would start turning Mum against us. And so it was,
Very manipulative then.
Oh, it was hot. Yeah. So it was.
How are your brothers? Because I don't know whether you're thinking that they'd come to the defence of
Well, I've got a little brother. I've got a brother that's just
punch him or something. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, but it did. It got physical between all of us, So between me and my, stepfather, trying to protect my mother, and then, if we were trying to protect her, then she'd be like, "Don't do that," But it just was a very knock-on effect of, if he would go at her and try to turn her against us and be like, "You can't do that to him," and we're like, "But we're just trying to protect you. Like you're
It's
at the hands of this man, and yet we're just trying to look after you."
So life unravels, and then from there, what happens? Does the family all split up, or you grow up and
so I think that a lot of the sisters decided that it was time for them to go. Mum decided that, she wanted to move down to the country. It was best for her to move away. So she told that news. I was, just shy of 17, and I was like, so I've moved from the family home up here, lived 4 traumatic years. And so part of that, I probably I want to say back then, a lot of typical teenagers, I delved into drinking a lot. I then escalated into probably recreational drugs. And, I found this place of freedom. For once I felt free, away from what happened, away from what happened with Dad. But what came with that was a lot of also depression and anxiety. So even though I was masking the depth of my sadness, it was also creating me going into a much darker place. But yeah, I remember Mum saying, "Well, we're moving away. You can either come with us or not, and that's totally up to you." And I just happened to meet this man that, so I was 17. He was a chef, at a very lucrative restaurant in the city. And so it happened all really quite quickly. He's like, "You can move in with me." And I thought, great, that sounds like a really great idea.
You were vulnerable.
And a bit of survival again.
It was like,
survival.
it was survival. It was. And so I thought, this is a really great idea. And we used to like going out together. And I was like, I'm escaping that. I'm escaping reality. And it was just unfortunate. We were only together for a very short time, but in that time, because he was using very heavily in a particular drug that I didn't touch, but he would use that because he was a chef, and he started to get, psychotic episodes. So all of a sudden, my life watching my mum go through this domestic violence, then it was my turn.
Playing out.
And so I was at the hands of a monster. And so it started with the emotional abuse, and then it ended really quite physical. So he used to, slap me around quite a bit. And so I guess the turning point for that was I had this great job as a hairdresser, and they decided that they would put me through this makeup course. I couldn't afford to do it because I, had no form of income, and that was like $10,000 to go and get a certificate in makeup. I thought, this is amazing. My life is turning around. It's so exciting. I've got this hairdressing apprenticeship. I get to do my passion, which was makeup, and I just thought, wow, I'm landing on my feet. Like, this is the first good thing that's happened in so many years. I was dating this guy, but he sort of also gave me an opportunity to get out of something bad.
And is this a guy you were working with?
So I was living with my boyfriend, and then my boss was amazing. So
he sounds great, like a mentor.
He was. So then
tell us that story. It's so juicy.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the next. That's the next.
I
didn't.
I'm trying to head to
Don't
you love it?
I love that one. But I had a great opportunity. Yeah. But what came of that is a night in the Cross where I had to do a hair. We were a part of this hair competition. I got to do the makeup. I was doing a male's makeup who happened to be gay. Got the jealous boyfriend who's come backstage, saw me doing the makeup. And so that night I almost lost my life to the hands of this man.
Stop.
Yeah, who was, just repetitively punching me in the face, choking me. And, thank you to whoever it was, Jesus, Dad, whoever it may be. But that night I thankfully escaped, because if I didn't, I would have been dead. He was the rage in this man's eyes, all because I did a male's makeup. And so I thankfully got out of that relationship, left, and then started my new life, moved in with my brothers, so that, got a couple of jobs. And then I had a friend call me and say, hey, I've got this job for you, this job interview. It's in North Sydney. It's with this insurance broking firm. It's a receptionist role. Like, I think it would be really great for you. And at that point I was living out in Maryland, and I thought, I don't know if I really want to drive all the way from Maryland, because it was in North Sydney. But I thought, let's give this a go. I'll drive down there in my busted up, hail damaged, Mazda 323, drive all the way, hour and 20 minutes, and get there. Had a great interview with the office manager, get in my car, and I thought, that's good. I don't know if I'll take the job because that's a really long drive every day. And I did, I wasn't sure that it was, the job that I wanted to go into. And then I ended up getting halfway home, and they called me and they said, the CEO of the company wants to meet you. And I was like, that's interesting, but you've got to come back this afternoon, because if you don't, then you probably won't get the job. There's another candidate that they're looking at. So if you come back, you'll probably get that you've got a good chance. And so it was like that sliding door moment, that movie with Gwyneth Paltrow.
I love that.
Yeah, and I always think about that moment, because in that moment I could have chosen to just go, no, you know what, I'm going to go back to this life that was going absolutely nowhere. I'm in survival mode, come out of a really bad relationship. I'm finding myself again. And, slowly rebuilding, myself back up. And then I thought, no, I'll drive back down. And so I did. And I had this interview with this amazing man and CEO who interviewed me. And I remember him looking at me in the eyes and just saying, what is it? Like, what do you want? Like, you've got a bit of a checkered past, like you've left school in year 10 and you've had a few jobs, you haven't really gone to university. And I was like, I didn't have the opportunity. I didn't, I had to leave school. I had to look after myself. My mum chose to move away. So this was the best I could do. And I said, I just want someone to believe in me. Like, I'm a good person and I deserve, goodness in my life. I deserve to, someone to give me a chance. Yeah. And so he was like, interesting. And so I left that, went home. And the next day I got that job, which was fantastic. So I was so happy. I found this amazing company that I was excited. It was the first good thing that had happened in my life in a really, really good time. Good, genuine people that treated me with respect and wanted me to do good things.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was amazing. But, there's also the flip side of that I met this new man, and, second time around I ended up in another domestic violent relationship, almost losing my life multiple times yet again to this man. But this company that I work for was I shouldn't say the company, this man.
I was going to say the CEO.
Yeah.
This is the mentor, which I adore.
Yeah. He
Knight in shining armor.
Knight in shining armor. Obviously, initially there was nothing ever there, but he believed in me. He loved me. He protected me. When I went through the 4 years of being in this really toxic relationship, he kept saying, like, you've got to leave. And I said, I'm too scared. This man's going to kill me and he's going to kill my family. And he even says that he'll come here and kill you guys. Like, I can't leave this guy. It's just not going to happen. I will stick it out. I will just make it work. So, I had this great opportunity of being in this company that I truly loved, and it was just, I had so much goodness in this place, and then I would go home and there was just so much toxicity and so much trauma, traumatic moments with this man, because he just wanted to control me, lock me away, take away anything that meant anything to me. So I think, after 4 years and realizing, I'm at that point where I would actually rather die than be with this man. And so I took the chance with the help of this beautiful boss, Paul, and I took the chance, and he's like, you just got to do it. You can do it. We've got you. Whatever you need to do, you can do this, Jodes. We'll support you. If you need to hide. If you need to go away, we'll help you go away. Whatever it looks like, we will help you. And so I did. I went home and I was like, I'm done. I don't care what you do. Hurt me, kill my family, whatever. I can't be in this relationship anymore. And so I set myself free. And so
that's a powerful statement.
Yeah, I did.
And how did
set
you do
myself
that? What was
free.
you moved
Powerful.
on, how did you do that?
I chose.
Pack your bags.
Yeah,
and
I
where
did.
Go? When
My
did you go?
50 bags of like rubbish. I had, like black rubbish bags.
Yeah.
I had literally 50 bags. My sister came to pick me up. I dumped all the bags in my sister's big ute, and I just left. And I spent a year, like not on the run, but I was hiding out. So I would move around a lot because I knew he was watching me. But I knew I had the support of this company and the support of this beautiful woman, Michelle, who was the office manager, but more importantly, the CEO, Paul.
We love Paul.
Wow.
Paul,
Paul.
So,
Yeah.
So moving ahead, you and Paul end up becoming...
a couple of years later, we've dated other people,
Love it.
and then one day on his 40th birthday, he turned around to me and he said, I love you.
Oh,
and I said,
and you know what? That is incredible, isn't it?
And more than just a relationship, he was I think you said the word protector.
He did. He
Like,
protected me. He was the
That's why
first.
I say knight in
And it was
shining
like,
armor.
because I think sometimes sort of clear and people hearing this, sometimes it could be, and you fall in love with the boss and you think, well, the power's unequal
True, I
again.
haven't thought about that.
No, well, I guess you do the CEO and this young troubled girl, and he's got the power and this sort of stuff. They're going, what's the web going to be here?
But weirdly, Nicola, I didn't fall in love with him.
No.
I loved him.
Yes,
I
you
loved him.
adored him.
He was my best friend.
Yes.
Like we had great moments, but it was never anything sexual. It was like
And
we
that's
just
great.
loved being with each other.
That's good.
But then
Healthy.
he decided he wanted to change the narrative, and he was like, I love you. And I was like, oh God, you'd fall in love with a lamppost. You don't love me. He's like, no, I
But you
love
trusted him too, don't forget.
First
'cause he's
man
a
that
good
I had
soul.
to
But
ever
can I
trusted.
say also the time when it was that too, you had found yourself.
I did.
Which is a kind of brings the balance
Very
right.
powerful.
It did.
But,
Well, he brought me back to life. He saved my life and he brought me back to life. He was the first man to look at me and just go, you're enough, Jodes. Like,
but you are.
And you are.
And you know it.
It's so beautiful.
It shows in every part of you. And you know what? On that note, let's talk about from pain to purpose.
Yeah, pain to
Yes.
purpose.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is a good
For
fork in the road
Yeah.
to take you out of that, because otherwise I'll be on the floor hysterical. And so will Nicola, and so will Sam. Pain to purpose.
Pain to purpose.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah.
So, I think had I not gone through all of that pain, and there's no part of me that sits here and ever goes, I regret anything that I went through. I actually am so thankful because what I've got now, I genuinely go, I'm so appreciative. I look at my children, I look at my husband, I look at my family, I go, I am blessed. And even though there's hard times, we're in this together. Like that's, I just feel so lucky. So everything I went through led me to where I am today. So my pain, I've turned it into my purpose. So I knew after going through all that traumatic stuff, through all my addiction, through all these traumatic experiences in my life, I knew there was something that I had to find myself and what it meant for me to repair myself, to give back to myself, to love myself, because I didn't love myself. I never had that father saying, you are worthy, you are enough, like, come on, I've got your back. And I didn't really have mum.
No.
She's the best person now. Like, I love her. She was in
survival mode.
She was in total survival mode.
I get it.
So I did a lot of work on myself, and it all started with when, I was pregnant. I thought, you know what, I'm really into fitness. I'm going to study my Cert 3 and Cert 4. And so my journey began. And so, once I had my daughter, unfortunately, postnatal depression did come and bite me in the bum, and so I did suffer a little bit, and I could see like the drinking came back in a little bit, and I was never irresponsible, but I was like, oh God, this isn't good. Like I don't know that I can, keep going in this, like just go with the flow. So I was like, I need to do something. What is it? And so that's where movement became so powerful for me to realize that like movement for my mental health. It was just like,
so break that down. What's movement?
Movement is
tell me about that.
Wow, it could be any, for me, movement is any form of movement. It could be walking, it could be weight training, it could be yoga, it could be Pilates, it could, mindful movement, whatever it is, whatever it looks like for you. Everyone has a different way of moving their body. So, but, for me, it was, I loved weight training. Like it was just, I loved it. I loved spin classes. I loved dancing, so there was, so I did Zumba for so many years. So I started going into all these modalities.
Great way to heal,
isn't it?
It was
movement.
Amazing.
I love the word. Love the umbrella term.
So you kind of add movement, then you add the music, and you go, God, this is the medicine. That like these two things, moving your body while listening to music, is the medicine. It was like I just thought, wow, like
this is your language too, isn't it? She's the dancing queen.
I know.
Seriously,
Yeah.
What a beautiful.
So did that
way to
lead
heal.
into, because I believe it's a DJ Jodie as well. So tell us about this side of that.
Yeah.
Is it
She's
part
our
of the movement
DJ
as well?
at the
It is.
disco.
She is. I mean,
Yeah.
she's
So,
got it all.
bucket list items. Obviously, back in my 20s, I would have loved to have been a DJ. And so I did. I saw this, like this ad for Your Shot, come and be the Australia's next DJ, young DJ. And I thought, I'm not young. I'm 35, so maybe I'm not young. But when you turn up at these competitions,
it's true.
you go, we're 20 years older, like 15, 20 years older. So I called my brother and I said, guess what? And I was having a glass of wine. I said, guess what? I've entered us in this competition. We're going to be DJs. And so my brother and I decided to enter this competition out of 800 contestants that went to the interview. We got chosen to be in the top 100. So we learned how to become DJs. We performed at the Greenwood Hotel, and it was amazing. It was just like, I absolutely loved that I got to tick a bucket list item that, because music for me was so powerful. It was when I was in my late teens, I would go into nightclubs and I would be that one person on the podium from 10 till 10. You could not get me off there because it made me, I was lost in the music.
It's food for the soul.
It is.
In essence.
It is.
People don't acknowledge that, but it truly is.
It is.
They say, I can feel the music.
Yeah.
You sing, the vibration of singing.
Yeah.
Even if you can't damn well sing.
Yeah.
The vibration through your whole body. Since the beginning of time, man has done that around a fire.
Yeah.
Singing, listening to playing music, playing instruments, a stick on a rock, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And that's why DJs these days are revered. They're like gods,
Yes.
the DJ.
Yeah.
Not a band, a DJ.
A DJ, yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why we chose you to be on DJ. Now, look, I'm going to take you back. You're a woman with so much warmth. And you're a woman with so much, you have the gifts of wisdom on board. I want to throw this out there. Nicola, we interview a lot of people that against all odds, suffered, incredible trauma and remarkable adversities. They've risen above it and they give back. That's what they do. Like the Tony Robbins of the world, just, Johan Hari, we just interviewed, unbelievable trauma they come from, but they've like you, they've healed and they're giving back you through this incredible wellness center called Positive Energy. It's all about from you giving back. How is that for you coming from, we just heard that unbelievable burden to now turning it around? How powerful that is.
Yeah,
How did it start?
With
that, Dora?
it's a huge, I love seeing these stories, hearing these stories and the end result.
Yeah. So, coming from a long history of mental health issues, dealing with it myself, seeing the power of what these modalities can do. And it could just be dancing. It could be meditation. It could be breath work. It could just be whatever form of movement that is for you. I was thinking, shit, this is so powerful. Like, this is a natural way. I don't want to go on medication. I tried it. I flatlined. I just thought, why am I doing this? Like, this just doesn't make me, feel naturally who I am. And so I thought that, for me to tap into this natural way of feeling good about myself. And so my husband said, he had a very successful career in the insurance broking industry. And he said, let me have my career and back me, be the mother. And that's why I chose fitness as well. So I could have the flexibility of being a mother, but also doing what I'm passionate about. And he said, and when it's your turn to have your time in the sun, I'll allow you to have your dream. And so
Paul, we love Paul. Paul, give me a t-shirt. We love Paul.
We do love Paul.
Paul
Paul
got a brother.
He does. He does. Paul does have a brother. I think you might have seen Paul's brother at an event too.
Watch this space, guys. Watch this space.
They're very much alike as well. But wait till you meet Paul. You'll go, now I get Paul. Paul is a magical unicorn.
Okay.
Everyone loves Paul.
So tell us about them, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And also, that he's a man of his word.
He is a man.
Like some people don't, man or woman, don't always want the other partner to shine. And so it's really nice.
It just keeps going.
How did it create?
So he just said, okay, well, you're not going to do anything by halves because we don't do that. And we're going to find the perfect property and you're going to build your dream and I'm going to help you. And I went, So I searched 3 years to find the perfect place. It needed to have great street presence. It needed to be near a supermarket. It needed, a lot of thoroughfare. It needed main roads. So there was all these things I was looking for. So I was going to be really picky because I thought I've waited this long, 10 years. What's another few years? And so we found the perfect property in COVID. This lovely couple who had owned the property for 30 years didn't want to sell to like a giant that was buying up all the commercial properties around the place. And so I told beautiful Margaret my story and she said, you're it. You're the couple that I want to sell to. And so we managed to buy. It was just like a pinch myself moment. I was like, oh my God.
Can you describe to the listeners what it is? Because we call it a sanctuary.
We've talked about Positive Energy Belgala. You'll all have to go there. We've talked about it before, but you have to see it to believe it.
So
feel it.
Positive Energy.
There's so much there.
Yeah, there is so much there. It's basically everything that I love. So it was built for me. No, I'm joking.
There's only one kind.
But I want to share it. I want to bring everyone on the journey because I just thought if I can heal myself and I can heal my husband and I can heal my family of friends and I've bought I'm one of those I try absolutely everything. I will try everything once. And so, I've tried breath work, all these different modalities, but back then they were sort of, a little bit kind of taboo. Like, what is this breath work? Woo-woo. Yeah. Going on, what is this breath work? Not sure about it. And so back when, I was trying all these things, I'm saying you've got to come along. And so all of a sudden I'm building this book of all these things and I'm thinking far out. Like, we're feeling amazing. Like, I'm healing myself for the first time. Like, after breath work, I had this beautiful lady, Lindsay from Rhythm of Breath, and she brought me back to life. And through breath work, I was allowed to let myself free again. because I didn't also feel worthy of my husband's love, because I thought, look at this man, he's perfect and he loves me. Like, I was the receptionist. So it took me a lot of years to feel worthy enough of his love. So there was so many things through breath work, and even the death of my father. So breath work was so powerful. So I've created this studio where I like all the things I love and I'm truly passionate about is, you know, it's through physical fitness and holistic practices. So
Okay, let's run through the modalities there.
Yeah,
First thing I loved was the counselling room. I went, hello, bingo.
Yeah,
you know, let's let it out, vent it. Next thing I love was the spin. Is it spin bikes?
We've got an amazing
you can tell
studio.
I do that, not. God,
you've got
it's like a movie cinema.
It is.
So
it's a full
sexy
immersive
and dark.
experience.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God, I
beautiful.
love it.
It's beautiful.
It's been styled magnificently.
Oh my
as
God,
well. It's so
it's heaven.
welcoming.
And the yoga, Nicola's the yoga.
Yes,
I'm going to say,
I'm the wine drinker. She's the yogi.
I've done the yin yoga, the sound yin, and it was so beautiful. What do they call it when they've got the
bowls?
It's the bowls.
Bowls as
Did you
well.
fall asleep?
I did.
Yeah.
and tell them what they
next to
did
me.
to you, like they gave you the cushion.
But I just said there's no stone unturned with this one. It's everything there, from the silk eye shades to the extra sort of like knee pad to the blankie. It was just everything there. And I fall asleep. The only criticism was I had to leave.
Yeah. But you got stuck out.
No, she wanted to
talking
stay
for
the
half an
night. They
hour.
said, get her out. Get her
I
out.
did,
We're
but-
closing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's magnificent.
Yeah.
I also want to say that I want to throw this into the mix. People going on holidays all over the world now, it's quite fascinating to see which way they go. I mean, we used to go on holiday, drink, swim, drink, whatever. But now there's wellness retreats all over the world. So what you've set up, I call it the wellness sanctuary and positive energy. But a lot of people are going that way on holidays.
They are. And we're kind of probably like the mini wellness retreat. You get to have that breakaway. It's just an hour, but as you would know, the sound and yin is people float down those stairs. They just say that woman is incredible, and so the sound healer. She's a magical unicorn. She's amazing. I am so lucky with the instructors, the staff. I've surrounded myself with just truly authentic people that are just amazing in their craft. I'm just one little bit of positive energy. I've got a fantastic team who love and support me. Love being a part of the studio, and I have gone to, lengths to make the studio really comfortable, but I want it to be a place where people feel like they belong. So it's not luxurious. I'm going to put it out there that we are not that fully polished. We don't have high
staff
membership.
are beautiful.
And you know what? That's a really good point, because some people could feel intimidated thinking it's a swanky LA sort of place.
Definitely
it's so not. And
so it's a mini wellness
and let
getaway.
me say too, people who I've met, it's like, and congratulations to you, creating a space. It's also filling a void in loneliness now.
It really is.
Because it's a spot where people can go to, whether they go by themselves and meet there, and you can even have a coffee or connection there.
Yeah.
And it's creating a really beautiful, safe space that even if you're not into doing all the fitness yet,
you can just come.
It's a really nice spot.
Can I say something about the singing? Is it singing?
Sound bowl.
Sound bowl. I brought one and I made a trifle in the bowl.
Well, at least it comes in handy.
I forgot that I had it, and I made, because it's heavy and whatever. It was the perfect trifle bowl, and then someone said, "That's a heavy bowl." I went, "Oh my God, it's that thing you put the Doover on." I realised what it was. And so how's that Doover? But
that is so funny.
We're running out of time. I want to ask one question.
Yeah.
What's your favourite song?
Well, that would be hard.
That is really hard. But my favourite song. My favourite song at the moment is called "Follow Me" by Hayden James. It's a happy song. I'm all about joy and happiness.
Writing it down. What's it called again?
"Follow Me" by Hayden James.
I love the name.
Yeah, and I just and that's what I want people to do. I want them to follow me into positive energy. I want you to feel the energy. I want you to feel that it's a place that you belong. It's all about community for me.
You've found a place where you belong, and that's what
And
rounding up this
and you
interview is
share
what
it.
gives us
But also,
joy.
I do want to
love
ask
it.
too, just for our listeners as well, because people have
No,
gone
just
through
thinking.
your story, and that people have gone through it in their own separate ways.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's not quite there, or they haven't met a Paul in their life, because it's not always the odds
question.
there? What do you suggest now through what you've learnt through movement or places of what you've learnt to help some other people out there, Jodie?
My biggest advice on that is that we quickly focus on the negative. Like, I catch myself sometimes focusing. It's just easier. It's a natural part of life. But there's so much positivity out there in the world, and you are the captain to your own ship. So you get to make that choice. Like, without you going, I'm showing up for myself today. I deserve to feel happy. I deserve to feel like I belong. I am worthy. I am loved. And that's what I want positive energy to be for people that come into the studio that may not have anyone. Like, I've got you. Our team's got you. You belong. You are safe and you are protected. And we're going to take you on this journey. We're going to build you back up again. And we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. You know,
Love it.
I think
it is so...
You know what I'm worrying about? I'm already worrying about ratings. I haven't thought of a number.
There's no worry.
Seriously.
There's no worry
so
about,
funny.
you're so funny.
I've loved having you.
We're so worried. Well, you're not getting away with it without our signature questions
you're gonna
as
have,
well,
we're going to
too.
throw them at you.
So, if you could share a back fence, Jodie,
Yeah.
gorgeous Hines,
Yeah.
from Positive Energy with anybody on planet
Yeah.
It's
Earth,
like Bo Derek.
Yeah.
I
A
know.
dark
Who would it
version of Bo
be
Derek.
and why?
So it's going to be two people. One isn't on earth. He's in heaven, but it would be my dad.
Of course.
Time got stolen away from us, and his name was John. John Harvey.
Hey,
and if
John.
I ever had a boy, I was going to name him Harvey. I had to fight my way with Paul with that one, but I would have won.
Yes, of course.
But definitely, I would love to know what he would be like. I would love to have a conversation.
Beautiful.
I would love to have that relationship. And then the other one would be my crazy sister to another mister, Wendy Kasparovich.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best. Talk about
Yeah.
I might fight you.
I know.
We'll come and join the fence.
Shout out to Wendy.
Oh,
I love it.
yeah. She's a rock, that woman.
Why?
She's just a rock. She is solid. She is pure joy and sunshine, that woman. Like, no matter how hard she works, no matter what she's been through, she always shows up for me, and she's my biggest cheerleader.
I love it.
You know, there was a post today, and I just saw on the way in that she reposted about positive energy on this post because a particular person had it, and I thought, look at her, like, cheering on
Is
once
Wendy coming to
again.
the disco?
She sure is.
She absolutely.
You know what? I can't wait to. I've never danced with her.
And who doesn't like
She will be
Rokanui?
a
I mean, that's
hoot.
the
I
original thing.
know.
Now, you've got another question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? To see other people happy. I'm a joy giver. So Paul reckons he's an entertainer and I'm the giver of joy. So I like to give, that's my love language, to give happiness to people. So that's what makes me happy. That's what fills my cup up. You know, positive energy may be one thing, and people walk in and they go, oh my God, this is amazing. No, it's not about money for me. It's about what people get back from positive energy. So I just want people to feel that joy, that happiness. So that's what
your
brings me.
energy is
Well,
positive.
you're rating it out everywhere, and
Thank
you've
you for coming
created
in
a
today,
spot.
Jodie. I love
Yeah.
Thank you for being very personal,
Yeah.
sharing with our friends listening
Yeah.
your personal story.
thank you,
and I
Di and
know
Nicola.
the emotions that you were holding back today.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot for people to gain from where you have come as a consequence.
Yeah.
You know, of your
And the
upbringing.
courage to
Well
speak,
done.
and
We're proud
also
of you.
giving the
Thank you
hope
so
for
much.
others
Yeah.
of what you've
Thank you.
created. So we are on YouTube.
We
so
are.
yeah, so you can watch,
Oh, no, they
watch
can
this.
see us.
They can see us.
I started a
That's
podcast. I
very-
thought, great, no makeup like TV.
Yeah.
Thought easy, I can come in a tracksuit.
Great and review, and this one is to share
I
with
love
everyone.
watching you. I think it's so much better than just love listening. I think
Yeah,
it's
like
the entertaining
it's great.
factor.
There's always different ways as well, and also come along to a disco. I think by the time this drops, the tickets are probably nearly already sold. You might fit. Otherwise, come to Positive Energy.
Yes.
But also, we love our 5-star ratings.
We
don't
do.
But we've got
I just
Jodie
figured it
Hines
out.
here, and Di's
You
got
ready?
her own rating system. So what have we got?
8
for
out of
Jodie?
5.
8 out of
Yay!
5. Where did you get that from?
I won.
I love
everything.
I
Has
love
to
that.
be 8 out of 5.
Thank
yeah,
you
because
so
we can
much,
relate.
Di and Nicola. It's been such a joy.
I adore you.
And you
adore you.
And you rate positive energy. You know, So it's sort of like
Oh.
I'm an energy feeler, and every time you walk into the studio, you just bring so much joy and happiness, and you do like all the compliments. I'm like, you look at you, you're so beautiful, and I'm like, thank you.
Oh, well, hey,
No, you look like Bo Derek.
Well, you know what?
Ciao, guys. See
How's
you.
that? And we're all about positive
Oh,
energy. And
We'll be back in your ears and tell you all about the disco next week. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye. Thank you
Bye.
for having me.